First of all, congratulations on being inducted in the class of 2024.
You know what, Veronica, this is surreal. It's extremely humbling. You know, it's a little different for a referee, which, you know, players and coaches, they're kind of used to this. Mm-hmm. But for referees, we're so used to being the negative part of our game, because obviously you can only be 50% right, 50% wrong when you're 100% right. So to receive all of this, I'm soaking it in. I'm just like, wow. So I'm extremely humbled. I'm extremely honored to be with the class of women that I'm being inducted with. It's just incredible.
Yes. And can you walk me through when you got the call? What were you doing and what were the initial feelings at that moment?
You know, it's funny. Tina Craw, I was in San Francisco, got off of a plane, and I was on a train going to get a rent-a-car. And Tina Craw called and she said, "Hey, Violet," she says, "Monday, are you available for a quick chat?" I said, "Sure," but I was thinking, oh, maybe she wants me to go speak or to do something. I had no idea what she wanted, but this is just what I thought in my head, so I really didn't even think anything of it. Mm-hmm. So on Monday, she calls me and she says, "Oh, I just want to let you know you're on three-way with Seal Berry." And I said, "Oh, okay. Hey, Seal, how are you?" She said, "Oh my God, Violet, I am so good." They said, "Well, we have some exciting news for you." And then I just kind of paused. And they said, "We just want to be the first to tell you that you're going to be inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame for 2024. And I said, I almost said something I wasn't supposed to. I said, "Shut the front door," is literally what I said, but I wanted to say something else. But I said, I better not do that. And then I just I had to take a breath, and I sat there for a minute, and they chuckled. They said, "We don't think we've ever, in all the time we've known you, for you to be silent for a minute." I said, "This is incredible. You guys," I just want to yell and scream. And then obviously we kind of all yelled and screamed on the phone together and had a wonderful laugh. And they just said how proud they were of me, and they've known me for all these years, and we've been pushing for this, and it's just, you deserve it, and you know, you should have got it a long time ago. We just kind of went through the whole gamut and the spiel of just being excited. And I got off the phone, and I called my wife, and I told her, called my mom, and then I think I called my best friend Chancey, and I sat there for a minute going, oh wow, because personally, being a referee, you know, this is not something that you actually would dream about. And I think for me, it's a dream come true. But I didn't have it in my vision because I really didn't think it was kind of possible. You know how you just do what you do. It's about the work. It's about just being as good as you can be, getting to the highest level you can get to. And, you know, yes, have I had people throughout the years go, "Oh my God, you know, you should be, you know, what everything that you've done, you should be in, you know, the Hall of Fame or the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame or the Hall of something." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm excited just to be where I am, what I've done, and happy that other women are blazing that trail, that path that I kind of opened up. So again, so humbled.
Yes. Well, I love hearing your story about your reaction. I'm sure it's something you'll never forget. But something you also will probably always remember is how you even got involved in basketball to begin with. Can you walk me through kind of that journey and when you found out that basketball was truly your love? Oh,
that's funny. A little girl, my brother and I were 3 years apart, and literally we both just loved sports from a little kid. And I can honestly say, and my mom, she tried. She did. She tried to put the cute little patent leather little black shoes and the cute, you know, yellow dresses. And, you know, she would put my hair, you know, all these little barrettes and pins. And I would go, okay, can I take this off? And can I just go outside and play basketball or play baseball or run track or do whatever my brother was doing outside with all our neighborhood, you know, the neighborhood kids. And literally, she finally one day, she said to me, she said, "You know what, Vi?" She said, "Just go. Go outside. Go do what you want to do." And literally, you know what? Started, and I played all sports, actually. I tried them all. And for some reason, it was between softball and basketball. And I loved it, and obviously started in middle school, played high school. After high school, I did very, very well. Our team did well and got my scholarship to Cal Poly Pomona. And, that was probably one of the best decisions for me for, being a college athlete. I was able to stay close to home. I was able to play. My parents, my friends, and family were able to come watch me. Great time. We were very, very good at my Division II school. I had a great coach, great mentor, the late, great Miss Darlene May, who is a Hall of Famer, by the way. Give her props on that. So that was really how it just kind of took off for me. But just being that neighborhood little tomboy who just loved sports and fought her mom all the way, and made it through.
Yeah. And along that journey, who would you say, whether it's one person or multiple, that really inspired you through your journey?
I would say it's multiple. Obviously my family, extremely supportive. My mom, huge basketball fan. She played when they could only play half court, and then there was a rover who could go, I guess, full court. She used to kind of try to explain that to me. And I'm sitting here going, Mom, I don't know what you're talking about, because I've never had to play like that. But, I would love to hear her talk about the stories, and it would always be fun to me because she really understood. My mother understands the game, and we could always talk basketball and players and different things. And she even kind of, in a way, she started to really learn a lot more about officiating. So she would be my first. My second would be, I had a really great high school coach who took a lot of time with me to help me with fundamentals and extra practices. She would come to my house. I remember her and I would be in my backyard, and I would be shooting, because my dad would always have a court either on the garage, or I think one time we tore up the garage so much that he actually put a pole in the ground for my brother and I, so that, all the neighborhood kids, we had a pretty large backyard, all the neighborhood kids could come play. And then obviously my college coach was incredible. Something about her, in which I think, looking back on it, for me, she reminded me, her personality and her demeanor was like my parents. I grew up in a very structured Baptist household, where you had to do your certain things to be able to play. We couldn't play sports unless you didn't get good grades, you didn't do your chores, you didn't do what you needed to do to be able to play. And my coach kind of reminded me of that. She was extremely fair, and those are things that even now those things have been instilled in me, even being a supervisor. I really struggle with making sure that I'm fair with all of my referees, to give everyone that same energy, which again can be very draining. But it's what the way I was raised and what was instilled in me and what I do. So I would say that Coach May those would be the three that were very instrumental in just me being a young athlete, young in her career.
Yeah. And you mentioned your mom and how she told stories to you about when she played basketball, how things have changed from there, probably even when you played, to now what we're seeing today. How would you describe women's basketball evolving?
Oh my God. Over the decades, women's basketball now, I say, Chance and I, we were at the Final Four and we were sitting there watching, and to be in that arena 3 weeks ago, I think it was, I said, to be a part of this, if you are a part of women's basketball today, this is incredible. And especially going back to the days when I played high school, when I played college, and and thank God for social media, because I really believe that social media has really allowed people who probably wouldn't have the avenues to pay attention, and I think it's more so, and even looking at our women today in sports, they're vocal. They're like, no, we will not be denied. People need to know how talented, how productive, how good we are, and that we deserve I would say equal to what the men are, and we haven't gotten that, but I think it's growing. And I think as the years progress and with social media, now we're getting a television contract. Now we're, you're getting all these, for me to get alerts on my phone on ESPN about, the WNBA, all of our great college teams, the Final Four, those things didn't happen when I was, in college. And I really believe that, this is our time. And we have to grab it, and I think our fan base is growing. For me I was walking through the airport 2 weeks ago, and they had the women's games were on. And to hear, and I'm just listening as I'm walking by, to hear men at the bar, and they said, excuse me, can you put the women's game on? They had the men's, because the men's tournament was on. But they wanted to put the women's game on. And for men to want to do that. So I think our fan base is really, really growing. I think, I am biased. I think our game is much more fun to watch than watching the men. And women are we've always been fundamentally sound, but I think talent-wise now, people are really seeing how the game has grown and how talented we are, and we're strong and we're smart. Yes, is the game a little different? Of course, because no, we're not dunking. No, we do have some players that dunk, but on a consistent level, it's more of a fundamental sound, passing, structured. But our players, they're tall, they're big, they're quick, they're fast. Everything that the men's game can give us, the women's game can give it to us too.
Exactly. And that, I feel like, is a realization that is coming to the newer fans of the WNBA or even women's college basketball. But what would you say has always been there that people might just be realizing?
I would say what's always been there is how talented our women have always been. Because see, I was in the era of the Cheryl Miller, the Lisa Leslie. Those were players that when I was young growing up, Cheryl Miller and I played against each other in high school. She literally almost broke my nose. We played in a semifinal game against her. I was at Compton High School and she was at Riverside. And literally we played in a semifinal game and they beat us and we didn't get to the finals. So every time I see Cheryl, I say, it's your fault that I never got to a high school. I didn't get to the high school finals, but we're still good. We're still good. So literally, I look back at like a Cheryl Miller, and and nothing against Caitlin Clark. I think she's incredible. I think, we've had so many great players. Aaliyah Boston. Literally, I love watching these women play throughout their college careers, and I think the difference is that, it's just more television coverage, more social media. So now fans actually know who these players are, versus when Cheryl Miller was coming up, unless you were a women's basketball fan, you really didn't pay any attention, because that is truly the original GOAT. Yeah. There's no question, and hopefully I think as more highlights come out and more television coverage and people are talking about it, that people go, oh my God, I remember back in this time when these players were playing, because they were just as talented. The Cynthia Coopers. Those are players, those are inner city women that I used to go to the park and we used to all play against each other just for fun, and they're incredible and always have been. But the difference now is media, television coverage. Games are now on television, which is amazing. They should have been. But I really think that's the difference between the way the game has grown versus back, and I mind you, I feel like I'm telling my age, when I started versus now. But I don't know how you cannot be a women's basketball fan today. And that's what I felt when I was sitting in the Final Four in Cleveland going, to be a part of this today, for me, is surreal. And just, it really kind of, I get a little choked up because I just know the way it used to be. And now to be in the presence and to be involved in it and to sit here with you having this conversation, for me, is just, again, surreal.
Absolutely. And there are so many young women that are watching and getting more involved in women's basketball now than what we've probably seen in the past. So for them to now maybe be dreaming of being the next Angel Reese or the next Caitlin Clark, what advice would you give them as they continue to progress and go on their own journeys?
The first thing I would say, they have to go for it. I think, you mentioned some incredible names, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they have role models that are right in front of them, that they can learn about them, they can study them, they can watch them because of now with social media and television, and they can just have those dreams. And I think for any young lady today, they have role models. And I think that's the other positive thing with social media and all the television coverage, is because they now have people women that they could look up to and go, I may not be just like her, but I can try. Because again, those players are phenomenal. And there's only one. They can say what they want. There's only one Angel Reese to me. It's not another one. So, but they can still have someone that they can emulate, someone that they can look up to, and they're right there. They're not like you. If I'm talking to a young girl and I mention Cheryl Miller, she might go, who? And again, if you've been in women's basketball, obviously you would know who Cheryl Miller is. But for the young kids today, they may not, because they weren't even born when she was playing. But they have other players in our game now that are great role models that they can emulate. And I love it now that our women, they're beautiful. I watched the WNBA draft, and I sat there, and I felt like I was crying with these kids. The interviews and with their parents, and they look beautiful, and I'm sitting there going, any young lady who is playing today, this is incredible for her to watch, to see it. We've never had that before. It's always been the NBA draft or the NFL draft, or all of those things that were highly publicized. And now to have visually where they can actually sit and watch, to watch that WNBA draft was, my heart just went out to all those young women, because those women have worked just as hard to get where they're trying to get to accomplish what they've accomplished, no different than the men. So why wouldn't we get that recognition? So looking at young girls today, they visually have role models that they can look up to. It doesn't have to be just now a thought. They can dream it and they can be it. And they have tangible women that they can want to be, want to mimic themselves after, or someone that they can look at and go, you know what, I can be that type of player or that type of person, or I can get where they've gotten. And I think before, looking at myself, there were a few, for me, it's still in that area of like Ann Myers. When I was young, I used to, want to go to UCLA to watch Ann Myers. Now, women, they don't even have to go to the game. They're on television, and kudos to all the television coverage and social media to really just help with that. But I think our young girls today, they can do whatever they want. The sky is the limit, because again, our game is rapidly growing, and they can just do what they want. So I say, you dream it, you can be it.
Yes. And my last question for you, as we look at you becoming the first female referee in 1997, there's now talks of a potential first female NBA coach. So when thinking about being the first as a female referee to what is now a first for a female coach in the NBA, do you say the sky's the limit at this point?
I say it's about time. Because we already know, there's no question. We're very organized, we're very talented, we're very smart, we're very knowledgeable, and there's no question. No different than, were there a lot of head turns when the NBA made the decision to hire D&I? Of course. But obviously, all you have to do is just crack the door a little bit. All you have to do is just let us in. And I think as soon as that first woman, it's time. There's no question about it. We have women, I think, in front offices. So it's time to put a woman on the sideline. I definitely think they're definitely talented enough. We have so many talented coaches.
Yeah.
You look at Dawn Staley and what she's done, incredible. So you can't tell me that there's not a woman out there that could coach an NBA team and run it and have those men respond. Because again, you just have to be good at what you do. And we have so many coaches now, that women coaches that are just incredible. They have the credentials, they have the knowledge, they have the know-it-all, they're strong enough to do it. So I say it's about time.